I needed that. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I can't sleep. I got sucked into a shitstorm on Twitter today. You know, this debate of games having easy mode has been going around and around and around the toilet bowl for months. Ever since we got into all this stuff in the last year or so, the hard times that we're having, and more people have started playing more and more games, and there's just been such a debate. It's focused around these elite gamers. Yes, I'm in my house coat. If you want to see more of me in my house coat, subscribe, hit the like button. As I was saying, it's a shitstorm out there. Started out today, first thing this morning, I get up, I'm having my morning coffee. Now I'm having my 2 o'clock in the morning coffee, still thinking about this. Somebody posted an innocuous tweet, cute story. A 5-year-old boy was super proud of himself because he beat, I think it was Bloodborne, one of the From Software games. I think it was Bloodborne, but he beat it all by himself. No walkthroughs, no help from parents. 5-year-old kid. That's awesome. However, you know, me, and I'm sure you've all been there, you throw an innocuous comment on a tweet that you have no idea who you're talking to. And I threw out a tweet, I'll show it on here on the screen, that said, that's great, but not all of us have unlimited time of a 5-year-old to die 150 times over and over and over again until you learn the patterns. And I personally often choose games that I can, bite-sized stuff that I can pull off my shelf. I've got hundreds of games behind me that I haven't played, and that's part of what my 90-day challenge has been about recently, but I'll get back to that some other time. All these games that I haven't played, and when I actually go to the shelf to look for a game to play, I usually try to find something that I can actually, take off the shelf, play, and beat. Something that is either bite-sized enough or something that is, simple and predictable enough that I can actually get through the game without too much trouble. Nothing drives me crazier with the limited amount of time that I have and how focused I am on stories in gameplay. When I get halfway through a game and I can't finish it, or I'm just not willing to put the time investment into the game to learn what I need to learn, I just end up putting that game on a shelf because I just don't have the time for that kind of commitment. However, I completely respect games that are super difficult. Whether it's a platformer like Crash Bandicoot 4, which many people have said is super hard, and I won't disagree. I love that kind of difficulty because I can sit down, play a level. Sure, maybe I die 15, 20 times trying to get through the level, but when I beat it, there's this great sense of accomplishment, and only half an hour has gone by. Whereas when I take on something like, a huge JRPG, for example, I absolutely love the Fire Emblem series, but the Fire Emblem series is known for its epic difficulty at certain points in the series. I've been playing Fire Emblem Echoes on the 3DS, and I absolutely loved my time with that game, and I do intend to go back and invest the time at some point to complete the game. But you know what? The first 15 hours of the game that I played, I was kicking ass all the way through. I was strong enough to overcome whatever battles may have come my way. I went and, did some grinding here and there between different sections of the game so that I would make sure my characters were leveled up enough to meet whatever challenge was coming. However, I hit a particular battle at a particular point in the game where they threw all kinds of characters that I had never seen at me with abilities and powers that I had no way of countering. And I died, and I died, and I died, and I died. And I just couldn't do it anymore because I have so many other things to talk about and so many other things to experience on this channel, and I need to move into some of the other games that were on my list. So I put it on the shelf fully expecting to come back to it. But that just drives me nuts because I want to know how the story ends, and I want a game to be balanced in such a way that my character is always up to the challenge. You know, sure, maybe I need to get a little bit of skill. Like I said with Crash Bandicoot, you know, I can, you know, die a few times until I figure out the patterns, the distances, the, you know, the rhythms of the game and beat it fine. But when you're playing a story-oriented game and it stops you dead in the middle of the game with a huge difficulty spike, that drives me nuts. So that was my emotion behind responding to this tweet, and I really should have kept my mouth shut because I got hundreds of responses. My Twitter was blowing up all day. Every 10 or 15 minutes I would check my Twitter and there's another 10 replies. Just drove me absolutely crazy today with this rabid fan base. There's two sides to this whole debate, where you have a certain element of people who are saying games should have an easy mode. And, you know, I would, on the surface of that, I would agree that the power should be in the gamer's hands to decide how they want to play the game. However, there's a whole rabid fan base out there of elite so-called gamers who have beaten all of these From Software games and all of these other difficulty games, and all you get out of these guys is mocking and derision and get good, you know, that sort of mentality where, you know, if you're asking for an easy mode, you're not a legitimate gamer, and that really gets under my skin because everybody that enjoys video games is a gamer, and everybody's opinion is legitimate. My opinion might not be your opinion, but they're all legitimate opinions because they're based on your experience in the games that you love. I can't tell you how many of these jackasses were dropping, you know, brilliant analogies, comparing it to baseball or comparing it to, you know, so many other things, and they're like, oh, you know, adding an easy mode to, you know, a difficult game is like, you know, allowing a baseball hitter to switch to t-ball whenever he feels like it, just so that he can, you know, have an easier time at the last minute, bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, whatever. And that's not what I was saying, and I don't think that's what anyone who's asking for games to be easier and more accessible are saying. People who want games to be easier and more accessible in general do not want to take away the difficulty from other people. I respect the fact that you are an uber gamer who can beat all these games. I respect the hell out of Gerard Khalil, the completionist, when I watch him complete 100% platinum, every trophy, every hidden secret, whatever, every online achievement on some of the hardest games ever made. I absolutely respect that skill and ability. But people have different levels of skill and different levels of patience and different levels of available time to play these games. And I think the control should be in the gamer's hands to decide how they want to consume that content and how they want to proceed with a game. I understand that not every game is for every gamer. I understand, and I'm okay with the fact that I will probably never play a From Software game, simply because I know it will be too much of a time investment for me. I like to play games that I can beat in 15 or 20 hours, or 30 hours. I don't want something that is going to have me so frustrated that I'm going to throw my controller through a wall. So those games are not for me. I understand that. I'm not necessarily saying I want to fundamentally change those games, but I do think that the broad spectrum of games out there in this day and age should have a couple of basic amenities that a lot of them do not. First of all, I think every normal AAA or indie game that is supposed to be a pretty normal game, if it's not actually built around difficulty, I think they should all have an easy mode. I think they should have a variety of modes. Easy, very easy, watch this game like a movie mode. Like, there's no reason why the gamer cannot have control over these choices in this day and age. It is not that hard to make these changes to a game and still allow people who want the difficulty to have it. The argument can be made that more people who would have played the difficult version will choose to play the easier version and thereby water down the developer's intended experience, etc., etc. Again, this is my content I paid for, and I want to play it the way I want to play it. Now, there are some instances where I would be willing to play on a higher difficulty, or switch to a higher difficulty once I've got used to the game. I am not by any means opposed to the idea of a difficult game. I just think that we as gamers should have the choices. I made the same argument on Twitter today about the problem with game saves. This drives me nuts. I almost will not play a game if I cannot save whenever I want simply by dropping down a menu. You know, it's not too bad in some games where they have save points all over the place. If there's a save point literally everywhere you go, like within a 2-minute, 5-minute walk, whatever, okay, fine. You know, I didn't have a problem with a lot of the games like that. But if I start a game and I'm playing this game for half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, and it's cutscene after tutorial, after battle, after exploration, and I have still not found a way to save the game and go take a pee, I'm probably never playing that game again. You know, I have to go to work. A lot of us have to go to work. A lot of us might like to go to bed, and you want to play a game for 20 or 30 minutes before bed, and you don't necessarily want to leave your console running all night just because you can't find a save point. There is no reason with today's technology that you cannot save your game, turn your console off, and go to bed whenever you want. And that drives me absolutely bananas. There's just no reason for it. Looks like my battery died in my blue light back there. Alright, that's just the kind of night I'm having. Anyways, guys, I'm not going to rant and rave here forever. When topics like this come up, they just need to be talked about. So what is your opinion on easy modes in games? Are you the type of person who wants the ultimate difficulty, or who wants to have the experience that the developers present to you, or do you want to have that control in your game that you can play the game and consume it the way you want? Let me know in the comments what you think. I would really appreciate a little bit of perspective on this, because while I respect that games like From Software games probably shouldn't have an easy mode, I respect that. That's the entire point of the game. I do think that the broader scope of, you know, mass appeal games out there should have some of these quality of life improvements that a lot of them do not. Simply having an easy mode that you can switch back and forth, or even if it's locked to the beginning of the game, you choose your path and you can't change it later, that's fine with me. But I want to control that. Am I crazy? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for sticking around, guys. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Hit the like button or hit the dislike button. If you think I'm off the rails here, feel free to dislike. That's just fine. Let me know what you think. Stay classy, guys.